Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Miss Crochet and Coffee here. And today we're doing our WIP and chat. So get out whatever it is you're working on. Work along with me. I will be working on Moonlight from Craft Ease. Excuse me. I'll be working on Moonlight from Craft Ease. This is the kit that I had started kitting up, and I didn't start it because you guys already know we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk about how Miss Coffee and family got COVID. First things first, let's go over what we got here. So we got our Mooney Maid tray. We have our tiny pufferfish plague ink doctor that says wash your hands. Please wash your hands, please go. We have our Craft Ease kit, and I have my, I want to say butterfly effect wares. I'm not 100% sure, but I will link where this pen came from down in the description box below. So I'll link everything down in the description box below. Now, please do keep in mind that I am coming off of having COVID. Today is actually Monday, so technically I'm not out of quarantine just yet. I do have a residual cough and sniffling, so don't be fearful. Don't worry, you can't catch it through the screen anyways. So let's talk about this COVID talk. Now, you guys know Miss Coffee has been a big advocate for washing your hands, don't touch your face, keep your 6 feet, and always try. So, how did Miss Coffee get COVID? First drills down. Oh my God, it feels so good to diamond paint again. Okay, so while I was sick, I didn't have the urge to want to diamond paint it because I didn't want to sit up for that long. So I didn't diamond paint, which is why this kit was not worked on at all. So let's talk about what happened. So as you guys know, I made the announcement Thursday that me and the family had COVID. I don't want anybody to worry. Like I told you guys, I didn't want anybody to worry about us because we were going to be fine, because as far as we knew, only person showing symptoms, of course, was me. As you guys know, I have really bad asthma, and so I was very fearful that something bad was going to happen to me because I have asthma. And because I was the only one showing symptoms. I didn't understand how come I was the only one showing symptoms. Obviously, my asthma is worse than Orion's, but I figured he would have been showing something a little bit more than just, nothing. So Thursday, Tuesday last week, let's go back to Tuesday. Tuesday last week, Monday, I'm sorry, let's go back to Monday. Sorry, my brain is still kind of jumbled. It's been a while since I've done this, so bear with me. Monday last week, I started losing my taste and smell. Now, I had talked to my doctor over the phone, and she said it sounded like I was getting the flu, to just drink fluids, which I have my cup of coffee and my cup of orange juice sitting here next to me, so if I have to pause to take a drink, please excuse me. But she told me to just take plenty of fluids, get some cold and flu meds, and I should be fine. I didn't need to be seen because, this happens to me every year around the same time, or right around the kids' birthdays. So we didn't think anything of it. Also, if I get interrupted, because do keep in mind, my family is still under quarantine, so you might hear the kids run through. Mr. Coffee might eventually wake up. So if you hear any of that, I do apologize, but again, we are under quarantine still. So Monday, I started losing my taste and smell. And I knew something was up because it was worse than it normally is. Now, with the flu, you lose your taste and smell, but not to this extent. So I was just kind of like, something's not right here. I think I have COVID. I don't know how I got it because I don't leave the house. I legit don't leave my house. Mr. Coffee's been picking up stuff from the P.O. box for me, and I legit haven't been leaving the house too much because I figured if I did get it, I would get it from one of the kids bringing it home from school. Now, how did we get it? So, as you guys know, Maggie and I tested positive for COVID. Orion and Mr. Coffee did not test positive. They do not have COVID. They did not have COVID, and currently, as far as we know, they still do not have COVID. So what happened? Okay, so we talked to the health department on Saturday, and we kind of zeroed in on when exactly did we get infected. So it looks like September 1st is when Maggie got infected. We don't know exactly how she got infected at school, but we know somehow at school she got infected on September 1st. Now take it. Maggie had been going to school for the entire week. She was off Monday, and then she went to school Tuesday, Wednesday, okay, last week. So she had been infected since September 1st. I had gotten infected on September 2nd because they go off of when was the first time you showed symptoms. My symptoms started that Saturday. So if you remember Friday, the last live I did, I told you guys that I wasn't feeling the best. I could tell I had a cold coming on, which again, my normal cold. I could tell I had a cold coming on, and then I canceled everything Saturday. Everything got canceled. I was just like, I can't make videos. I can't do this. I don't feel well. That was my infection date, Saturday. So what ended up happening was Maggie got Maggie got the virus in school on the 1st. On the 2nd, the morning of the 2nd, when I went to go take her to school is when I got infected. And I know this because I know exactly how I got infected. Every morning, whenever I give Maggie her medicine, I give her a little cup of juice. And Mr. Coffee is always fussing that she never finishes the cup of juice. Like, it's never, like, we don't give her a full cup of juice, but she never finishes it. And I didn't want to hear him fuss. So I've been, for the longest time now, like months, I've been finishing off the little bit of juice that she leaves left in her cup. And she's my child. So I drink after her. She drinks after me. We're related. I didn't think anything of it. Well, when I drank after her that day, I got infected with COVID because she had gotten it the day before. So I progressively started getting sicker. Now that Saturday is when I started getting sick. So that's how quick the symptoms started. So that Friday, she got a headache. And if you remember, I did a sneak peek for Diamond Art Club. And in this sneak peek, I had gotten a phone call that Maggie wasn't feeling well at school and I had to go pick her up. Well, Maggie had a headache. Now, Maggie gets headaches because Maggie is supposed to be wearing glasses, but she currently does not have her glasses. We don't know where they are. And since we've moved, we really don't know where they are because we've obviously looked through all of her stuff and we can't find them. So Maggie's supposed to have glasses. And because she hadn't been wearing them or whatnot, we just figured that that's where the headache was from. Okay. So, and yes, I'm using a two-placer. So we're sitting there and she doesn't have her glasses and she has a headache. And this happens randomly. Maggie will get a headache, and headaches are a common occurrence with epilepsy. So if you didn't know, Maggie has epilepsy and she does randomly get headaches. So we didn't think anything of it. We're like, okay, she got a headache. Well, the next day I got sick, like really sick. My throat and everything. The doctor was like, it's probably tonsillitis. We really need to get those tonsils out. And I'm like, yeah, no, those are mine. You can't have them. They're mine. I'm going to treat the cough and cold and take it easy and not talk because I couldn't talk because I lost my voice. So I'm sitting there and we didn't think anything of it. Saturday came and I couldn't talk. Sunday came, I still couldn't talk. Monday came, I could talk a little bit. And I was like, okay, something seems off. I can't taste anything. Like I can taste a little bit, but not a whole lot. So I told Mr. Coffee when he got home that day, hey, I feel like something's off. I can't taste my food. Like, it doesn't taste right. And he goes, do you think you have COVID? I'm like, I don't know. So the next day we decided it's probably best if we get tested. Because I was fearful of getting it because obviously I don't want to get sick. I don't want my children to be sick. I didn't want anything bad to happen to us. And so in my brain, if I don't get tested, then nothing bad will happen. That's not how that works, folks. Don't do that, okay? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, well, let's get tested. So Tuesday, after the kids got out of school, we decided to go over to our local hospital, which has a walk-in clinic, and they did it outside in your car. They come up to your car, have you fill out a bunch of paperwork. Now okay, let me tell you about this experience. This experience was miserable, okay? I'm already coughing. I'm sick. I have a mask on. I'm hot. And I'm just like sitting in the car and she hands me this like small phone book full of paperwork. And she's like, hello, you guys are here to get tested. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. And she's like, let me hand you all this paperwork. And like, you know, anything medical procedure wise, they have to hand you like a phone book's worth of paperwork. And I thought I had escaped paperwork from the kids at school. Every year the kids come home from school, that first couple of days, everything is signing paperwork. And this year it wasn't. So I thought I had escaped having to have my hand fall off signing paperwork. Nay. So we go up. She tells us to park in one of the parking spots. And Mr. Coffee met us there from work. And I have the kids in the back seat. We didn't tell them where we were going because I didn't want them to freak out. Because I know Orion's been really scared about catching this virus. Maggie doesn't really care. She's walking around like, you know, whatever. Of course she is, because she's the one that's giving it to everybody. Anyways. And again, you're going to hear the raspiness in my voice. And don't worry, I am fine. It is just a residual cold. So I'm sitting there. And she hands me the paperwork. And she's like, go ahead and fill this out. And we'll get you guys, you know, ready. Now, I'm scared to death because I've heard good and bad things about the nasal swab. If you've never had the nasal swab to get tested for COVID, essentially they take it and they go into your nasal cavity. And that doesn't mean like they stick it in your nose a little bit. No. They get into all of your business. Okay, like this lady had planted her foot and was in my business. Okay, she could hear my thoughts. She was so far in my business. Okay, so I'm sitting there. And she goes, who wants to go first? And I'm thinking, be brave for the kids. You were brave enough to get the shot for the kids in front of them to show them that it wasn't bad, so that when it's their turn, that they wouldn't be scared. You can be brave enough to do this. And I was like, I will go first. I will be brave. Why the hell did I do that? Why did I do that? Why do I do these things to myself? I should have let Mr. Coffee go first, because Mr. Coffee has gotten this test done so many times, it doesn't even bother him anymore. Me, on the other hand, have never gotten this test done. I don't leave my house. I'm not very experienced on the outside of the house. And I should have just sat there and minded my own damn business. But I didn't. I was like, I got this. I'm going to be brave for my babies. Look, listen, F these kids. That lady took out that Q-tip and she goes, okay. And I see how long the Q-tip is and I'm thinking, she can't be going that far into my nose because the Q-tip isn't that long. Like, she can't be going that far into my nose. Nay. So this lady was like, okay, so I'm going to stick this in your nose. And I'm like, yeah, I got that part. Like, that's not, you know, whatever. It's not a big deal. You stick it in my nose. She goes, I'm going to stick it in your nose. And I have to wiggle it around a little bit. So you're going to feel me wiggling it around. And I'm thinking, okay. I'm thinking like she's going to be like in there. Like, you know how when you pick your nose, you got something stuck up there. You're going to be like, you know, in there. I'm thinking it's like that. So I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like, you know, do what you got to do, woman. I'm being brave for my babies. I'm superwoman, like for my kids. And she goes, okay, are you ready? She goes, I'm going to have you lay back and tilt your head up. And I'm like, tilt my head up? Why don't I? Okay. All right. Cool. All right. I can do that. So I lay back and I tilt my head up. And she goes, are you ready? And I'm like, yep. Next thing I know, this woman, no cap, this woman straight up just went, whoosh. I was like, what the? Oh my God. Look, y'all, look, listen. I felt like her whole arm plus elbow was in there and she was tapping her elbow to get in there deeper. Like, I was like, oh my God. Oh no. Like, look. In my seat, I'm just, you know, moving around a little bit. In my head, my whole body is flailing around in my seat. I'm making like weird hand gestures. I'm trying to grab anything to get this woman out of my face. And she's like, hold on, we're almost, like, she's like the calmest little lady. And she's like 5 foot tall. So she's like perfect height for my window. And she's like, we're almost done. I'm flailing. I'm grabbing her arm. She's like, don't grab my arm. Grab the steering wheel. I'm trying to find the steering wheel because I don't have my eyes open. I'm freaking out. And I'm like, oh my God. And she's like wiggling it around. And she's just in there like 1, because she has to count to 12. It was the longest count to 12. I swear at one point she went backwards and she was like 11, 10, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, we're done. I swear to God, she was in there for half an hour. I was just like, what the flying flip-flop? I am flailing. I'm still flailing. She gets out of my nose. She puts the stuff back in her bag. I'm still flailing. She goes, we're done. Oh God. That's the most miserable thing ever. Look, listen. Y'all, that experience alone, I'm pretty sure, and for those folks that are like, well, Miss Coffee, why didn't you get the rapid test? Or why didn't you get the oral swab? Where we went, they didn't have the oral swab or the rapid test. So we didn't realize that downtown had it, and the hospital had already had all of our information. So we figured we'd just go down to the hospital because, you know, it's closer to the house. Oh my God, you guys. Oh, that cleared out my nasal passages. Because I'm pretty sure she took everything that was in there and like just pulled it out straight with that Q-tip. And I was just like, what the flying flip-flop? My nose. Oh my God, I'm dying. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking and I'm like, buck up. Man up. What are you doing? Stop acting like this. Like in my head, I'm yelling at myself to calm the hell down because the kids have to do this next. And they don't need to see you crying and acting like a big old bitch. Okay? So I was like, calm down. oh my God. Now you calm down so these kids are brave like you were. And I'm like, okay. And I look back at the kids. I have a tear coming down my face and I'm like, see guys, that wasn't so bad. Look, listen, I didn't tell those kids. That was hell, okay? That was hell. Next kid up, Orion, or the next person up, Mr. Coffee goes, I'll go next. Mr. Coffee goes. Now, Mr. Coffee is sitting in the seat. He just is holding his hands like this. She goes into his nose, and I get to see what she did to me, okay? He's sitting there like a straight-up gangster out of the 1920s from New York, okay? Like, he's just sitting there like he just ate all the paste picante sauce, and he's just chilling. Like, this is another day of some woman just randomly sticking her finger in his nose or something, and he's just like, all right, whatever. And he just sits there, and I'm like, well, hell, if I would have known he was going to sit there like that, I would have made him go first brave for the kids. Crap, he need to be brave for me. So she does his, no problem. He gets his done. He's done and over with 12 seconds. And I'm like, see, mine's, I swear, was in there longer than that. I swear she was in there half the day with mine because it didn't go that fast. And Mr. Coffee goes, yeah, it did. No, it didn't. I'm pretty sure she was in there half the day. I'm pretty sure she made a sandwich and came back and was still in there. Like, I don't think that it went that fast because yours went a lot faster than mine's did. So yeah, Mr. Coffee was, you know, he didn't flinch or anything. And I was just like, what the hell's wrong with you? What kind of weirdo are you? And he's like, I've had this done before. Remember, I had to get this done. He had to have this procedure done every time he went to go get his shots for his back. They had to do a COVID test on him. So I was like, oh my God, like, forget that. My back would have been hurting because there's no way in hell I'm going through this again. No. Hell no. So we're sitting there. And Orion goes, I'll go next. So Orion gets up in the front seat and they tell him it's going to be a little uncomfortable. He'll be okay. Orion gets up there, just like his dad. He's a straight up gangster. He gets up there. He wiggles around a little bit because he didn't know what to expect. And it's more shocking because you don't know what to expect. He gets up there and sorry, you're hearing the dogs playing on the floor. Killian, leave her alone. Killian's messing with Daisy. So he gets up in Mr. Coffee's lap in the front seat. And it's his turn, and the lady puts the thing in his nose. He flails around, and he's like, like, you know, normal kid stuff. And he gets done. He goes, oh, okay, that wasn't too bad. He goes and sits back in the back seat. Now, when Orion got up into the front seat, the lady's like, now, you're not going to fight me, are you? I'm like, that's not the one you have to worry about. Lastly came Maggie. Y'all, look, listen. If you've never dealt with Maggie in a doctor's office or anything, Maggie has to be held down. Maggie has to have you literally wrap yourself around her and hold her down because she is not sitting still. They could be giving her a lollipop and she is going to flail around. Maggie is that kid. She is the one, okay? She is the one and only Highlander. She decided before the lady even pulled the Q-tip out that she was not going to sit still. She climbed up in that front seat, happy to be in the front seat with Daddy until she saw that lady come around with that Q-tip. And she began to freak the out. She's yelling and screaming and flailing and kicking my dashboard. And like her foot's going out the window. So Mr. Coffee gets a hold of her. He grabs her legs and wraps them with his legs. He grabs her arms and grabs them with his one arm, holds her head back with his other arm, and goes, you're going to have to get in here as quick as you can because she's not going to stop. This is how she acts every doctor's appointment. So the lady goes, okay. She's like, don't hit me. Yo, look, listen, Maggie was beating the out of that lady while she was getting her stuff done, okay? Like, that lady was in there for that 12 seconds she got out, and she, like, her hair was askew and everything. She's like, okay. She fixed her little face shield. She goes, okay. Wow, you're the roughest one. She goes, but you're the cutest little one. And Maggie's like, I don't like you. And she, like, crawls back into the back seat. And I'm like, you guys okay? And Maggie's like, I'm tired. I was like, I bet you are. All right, sorry about that. Maggie came through. And she wanted to pet her doggy. And I was like, nah, you got to get out of here, kid. I got to record this video. The peoples have missed Miss Coffee. And I have missed the peoples. And I must talk to them about our experiences. Anyways, so I'm sitting there, and the lady tells us that the State Department will get a hold of us to let us know our results in a couple of days, 4 to 5 days, blah, blah, blah. She goes, but you can go on about your normal activities until then because we don't know whether you're negative or positive yet. I said, fine. I told Mr. Coffee that I'm pretty sure I'm positive. He said, don't freak out about it. I freaked out about it. I spent, like, all week freaking out. Tuesday, we didn't find out until Thursday, okay? So Thursday comes, I'm feeling a little bit better. Okay, my taste and smell are still gone, but the cold is subsiding and I can talk and everything else. And I'm like, you know, I don't know if I have it or not. I think it was just a cold, blah, blah, blah. My neighbors had it. They were in the hospital and I'm just like, oh my gosh. Now, for those folks that are wondering, Miss Coffee, aren't you vaccinated? Yes, I am vaccinated. I got the Johnson & Johnson shot on the 9th of July. So I am vaccinated against the virus. Now, for those folks that aren't 100% positive on how does that happen if you're vaccinated, there is still a chance that you can get the virus if you're vaccinated, okay? It lowers your chance of being hospitalized and passing away from the virus. It doesn't stop you in general from getting it, just like none of the other, like chicken pox doesn't stop you from getting the chicken pox. It just lessens the symptoms, okay? And I've had chicken pox, and believe me, the shot helps, okay? So, me being vaccinated does not mean that I did not have a chance of getting it. It just meant that my symptoms would be less than someone who, say, didn't have it. Like, say, my neighbor who had it, she's recovering now, but it was really bad for her. Like, she ended up in the hospital, and I didn't. And I have asthma, okay? So, which I'm not going to tell you about her stuff because that's not my business, and y'all don't need to know about all that. But just know she's doing better now. But I'm sitting there, and Thursday came, and I told Mr. Coffee, like, I'm feeling better, blah, blah, blah. You know, we're having a normal day. I was just really, why does everything I get make me extremely tired? Like, no matter, I can get hit in the head, and I'm like, I'm so tired. I could break a nail and be like, I'm really tired. Like, everything makes me the sleepy dwarf from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And so I was extremely tired. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, why am I so freaking tired? All week last week, I did absolutely nothing. I slept all week last week. All week. Sat with my phone near me and slept. I would wake up to go pick up the kids. I would sleep before I made dinner. I would make dinner. And then I would go back to sleep. Sleep all week. Just tired as hell. Couldn't figure out why I was so tired. And I remember my dad, because of course you guys know Paw, the old-timey doctor. I remember my dad saying, you know, look, listen, when you're tired, when you're sick, it's your body's way of healing you, and you obviously need to sleep, so just sleep. So I told my dad last week I wasn't feeling well. He said, just sleep. If your body wants to sleep, go to sleep. It's your body's way of healing while you're sleeping. And I was like, all right. So I slept all week. Thursday came, and we got the first call from Maggie. Hi, this is such and such from the doctor's office, which I wasn't expecting her doctor's office to call me. I was expecting the health department to call me, but it was the doctor's office. The doctor's office calls, and they go, hi, is this the mother or father of Magdalene Tepper? And I was like, yes. What are her results? And I'm expecting them to tell me that she doesn't have it. And they go, Magdalene is positive. Now, meanwhile, I'm watching Maggie at this current point in time as they're talking to me. I'm watching her pour syrup onto my kitchen table for no absolute reason, okay? She is not sick. She is showing no symptoms. She is doing nothing besides pouring, for some reason, a little cup of syrup on my table. Because why? Because she is a Maggie. That is why. So Maggie is pouring a cup of syrup on my table, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing, kid? Can you please stop? And they go, Maggie is positive for COVID. And I'm like, oh, and I immediately look at her for like 30 seconds, like, ew, God. Like, oh my God, my child has COVID. Oh my God. Immediately, I pictured her in a bubble and like in her room. Okay, because somebody was like, please, thank you for not being that parent that, you know, sticks your kid in the room for 10 days. And I'm thinking, even if I did, they have their own bathroom in there. I would have to bring her food, but yet no, we're not doing that. We're not locking people up in the room. Apparently you're supposed to, but I'm like, yeah, no, this is my goddamn own house, and I paid rent here, so I'm not getting locked in a goddamn own room like a caged animal. Anyways, so they tell me Maggie has it. The guy at the health department or the doctor's office goes, seems like you're going to be getting a lot of positive results today. How many people are in your household? And I was like, there's 4 of us all together. In the household, and they said more than likely if she has it, you all have it. So just get ready to have all positives. And I was like, okay. So that's when I made that first post on Instagram and Facebook about the Teppers have gotten COVID. Because at that point in time, I was told that if one had it, we all had it. So I was like, okay, we all have COVID. About 30 minutes later, I get a call. Is this Miss Coffee? And I was like, this is her. Now, obviously, they didn't say Miss Coffee. They say my real name, but yeah, I mean. So they're like, okay, I'm calling with your results. And I'm thinking, I have it, don't I? And they're like, yes, ma'am, you do have it. And I was like, God damn it. And I was like, okay, what do I need to do? And they tell us what all we need to do. And the lady goes, I go, I guess everybody in my house is going to be positive. And she goes, not necessarily. They'll call you with the results for everybody else in your house and, you know, later on today or tomorrow. And I was like, okay. We didn't hear anything for the rest of the day. I immediately call Mr. Coffee and I go, come home from work right now. And he's like, what is wrong? I'm like, I am positive for COVID. Come home from work now. Now, if you don't know anything about Miss Coffee has bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder also makes me very paranoid. So anything that, you know, anything outlandish that can happen, I will think of it and get scared about it. I've been deathly afraid of COVID since the moment it was announced on TV, okay? I've been afraid that this is how I'm going to die. I'm going to die of COVID. I've been deathly afraid of it. And I purposely stayed away from everybody and everything for the last almost 2 years for fear that I would get it. We thought for sure that we had gotten it from Mr. Coffee's job. But come to find out, Friday came and we got the phone call from Mr. Coffee and they told us Mr. Coffee did not have COVID. And I was like, hold up, what? And they're like, no, ma'am, he does not have COVID. And so he still had to quarantine. And we were like, well, what are we going to do? You're off of work for 10 days. What the hell are we going to do? And he's like, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. And I'm like, we got to figure it out fast. So then we're sitting there looking and we're like, hold up. So me and Maggie have it. Mr. Coffee doesn't have it. Last one, of course, was Orion. Now, if anybody in the house that I didn't want to have it, I was praying. You guys know I'm not a big religious person, but I've never prayed so hard in my entire life. I did not want my son to get it. If you guys know, Orion was born with lung issues, and this could be a death sentence for Orion because this attacks your lungs, and I was so afraid that my son would get it, and you could hear it in my voice, and I begged the doctor to please tell me what my son's results were. They were like, I don't have his results here with me. You're going to have to wait until either later on today or next week. I did not want to wait until Monday. I was scared. My blood pressure was up high. I'm like, oh my God, my son, I'm going to lose my son. I just know I'm going to lose my son. I was so afraid. I was crying, and Mr. Coffee's like, calm down. It's fine. He's probably fine. So far, he still has residual cold from back when he touched that cat. So he's still kind of coughing just a little bit. Not like a whole lot, just a little bit. And Mr. Coffee's like, calm down. He's probably fine, hon. Don't worry about it. Don't think the bad things. And I'm like, I can't help it. You know how my brain works. I can't help it. My baby is going to... I can't let this happen. Please. And I'm begging, you know... Please, whatever higher power there is, please don't let my son get sick. Give me what you're going to get of him. If this is his last times, give it to me. Don't give it to him. Please, you know, I'm like stressed out to the max. Okay, you guys. And this is Miss Coffee being as raw and real with you as I possibly can. I did not want my son to get this virus. So we sat around all day Friday waiting for his call. We never got it. I went to bed in tears because I was so afraid for him. I kept checking over him overnight, checking to make sure he was okay. And I'm like, please don't let my son get this cold. Please don't let my son get this thing. Please don't let him get this. Saturday morning came, and the little bit of sleep that I did get, I was still wide awake at the time that my phone rang early that morning, and I saw it was his doctor's office, which is who called me for Maggies Results. So I immediately picked up the phone, and I'm like, hello, is this for Orion's results? Please tell me this is for Orion's results. And they were like, yes, ma'am, we're calling you with Orion's results. And I'm like, please tell me, does my son have COVID? And they're like, no, ma'am, your son does not have COVID. I've never taken such a big sigh of relief in my entire life. I was like, thank you. I was crying to the lady on the phone. I'm like, what all do we need to do? And she goes, the health department will be getting a hold of you to let you know about quarantining and everything else. But no, your son does not have COVID. I know you were really worried about your son. She goes, I do apologize that it took so long, but the negative results usually come in last over the positive results, obviously, because we have to let people know if they're positive. So I was like, that's fine. I'm just happy to hear that my son doesn't have it. We'll wait to get the call from the health department. Not 10 minutes after I got the phone with her, the health department calls, and they're like, you know, getting Maggie's symptoms and what school she goes to and everything else. And I was like, okay. And they're like, do you know exactly how your daughter contracted this? I'm like, I have no clue how she got it. I'm going to guess she got it from school because nobody else here at the house would have been able to give it to her. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I work from home. I don't leave the house. Like, legit, don't leave the house. And I'm like, so she had to have gotten it from school. So they said that they would alert the school to let the teacher know that obviously somebody else in her class is going to come up positive for COVID because somehow Maggie had to have gotten it. And they let me know that, and they're like, you're like a perfect case because you don't leave the house. So you just essentially continue on your normal duties. You should be able to get back to work in a couple of days. The cold should subside. And they're asking me like my pre-existing health conditions. And I'm like, I suffered a stroke 2 years ago. I have really bad asthma. And they're like, wow. And you're vaccinated, correct? And I'm like, yes. And they asked me what my vaccination was, my lot number for my vaccination. They had to get a copy of my vaccination card. And they're like, that's amazing. Would you say your asthma is mild? You know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Because they were going to say something about giving me antibodies or something. I want to say is that like the Regeneron stuff. They were going to give me something else to kind of boost my immune system. And I'm like, my asthma right now currently is kind of mild. Because I haven't had any major issues with it. I would say it's mild. I don't think I need anything extra. I just want to rest. I don't want to leave my house. I just want to get over this so I can go back to living my normal life in the house because I'm not leaving. So they were like, you know, that's great. You're a breakthrough case because of the fact that you got it and your blood type. Apparently, if you're O positive, it's less likely that you will get it. If you're O positive or O negative, it's less likely that you will get it. But if you're O negative, if you get it, your signs and symptoms will be low. So Mr. Coffee's blood type is O positive, which is probably why he didn't get it. Mine's is O negative, because I told you guys, me and Mr. Coffee are opposite on everything. So he's O positive, I'm O negative. So my signs and symptoms were low because I'm O negative. And they said children don't tend to have a whole lot of symptoms if they do have symptoms. And it's most children don't get hella sick off of it. There are obviously some cases, but for the most part, most of the time, most kids don't get really sick off of it. So I was very happy to hear that. They just told us, you know, to keep doing what we're doing. And they told us, so that's how they figured out, you know, when our exact exposure date was. So Maggie's exposure date was September 1st. Mine was the 2nd. And essentially they told us that Maggie is officially off of quarantine Tuesday, which is the day you'll see this. She's officially off quarantine and can go outside and play. She will return back to school on Wednesday. Wednesday, I am off quarantine. And I can resume my natural duties outside of the house if I need to, because Mr. Coffee has been keeping a close eye on me and Maggie both, keeping us both in the house. He's been cooking, cleaning. So I got to do something special for my husband because he stepped up and he was my knight in shining armor that week. Like, he stepped up and cooked. He cleaned. Now take it, y'all. Mr. Coffee cannot cook. Okay, he's not the biggest chef, but he can bake his ass off. And he made sure to make his daughter's birthday special, even though she was acting like a complete butthole for her entire day. But he stepped up, he cooked, he cleaned, he took care of the house while I was down, and I want to do something really special for him, so I'm going to make sure to make him a special birthday or dinner or something. I have to do something special for Mr. Coffee for stepping up the way he did. Orion essentially has been doing his normal activity, which is staying in his room and not bothering anybody. And so, yeah, that was our weekend, as most of the weekend was spent just keeping me and Maggie, essentially, me and Maggie hung out most of the weekend, because I couldn't imagine being locked in a room with Maggie for a weekend. Like, I can't do it. I can't. I love my daughter to death, but there's no way in hell you're going to lock me in a room with the Maggie, okay? No. All Maggie cared about, which I still have to do, is play Uno. She wants to play Uno, and I'm like, okay. That first day after we got the results, I was so mentally drained. I was like, look, I can't play Uno with you right now. Mommy can't think straight. I can't. I will play Uno with her today, y'all, I promise. But I was like, I can't do anything right now. Like, I was so worried about Orion. I was so worried about myself. I wasn't so much worried about Maggie, because they told me if she wasn't showing signs and symptoms by then, that more than likely she was going to be fine. Maggie had besides a headache, she had no signs or symptoms. My signs and symptoms were loss of taste and smell. Well, let me do it in order. Sore throat, lost my voice, cough, congestion, loss of taste and smell, blurry vision, headaches, loss of appetite. Which all of that stuff kind of hit me all at once. And it was kind of weird for the first couple of days. And then as the weekend came, by Sunday, which was yesterday, I was feeling back to my normal self. I do have a little bit of a cough. I still get a little bit short of breath, which I wasn't getting short of breath when I was sick. But because like I have like the oxygen meter, and I have a blood pressure cuff to check my blood pressure and everything. My blood pressure was high, which I called my doctor's office, and they told me to monitor it. If it got extremely high, to call them. I should have probably went in, but I didn't. But my oxygen levels were good. My blood pressure was up high, but that's just because I was so worried about Orion. And I don't want people to think that just because I was so freaked out about Orion, I wasn't freaked out about Maggie. I was freaked out about Maggie, but knowing that she was going to be fine because she wasn't showing signs and symptoms, we kept a close eye on her. She kept taking her own temperature because she found out how to use the goddamn own thermometer, and she wouldn't stop taking everybody's temperature. So she took her own temperatures, but just making sure that Orion was going to be okay because he's the one with the pre-existing conditions with his lungs, making sure he was going to be okay. So like I said, me and Maggie get out of quarantine Tuesday and Wednesday this week. Poor Orion. Okay, Mr. Coffee has to wait 10 days because that's like his thing for work. Like work told him he has to wait until 10 days is up and he can come back to work or whatever. But Orion, because Orion has been in close contact with people who have COVID, he cannot return back to school for freaking 2 weeks. And I was like, what the flip-flop? Now take it. Look, listen. They said recommended they recommend 14 days for him to stay home after my quarantine day. So after the 14th, because he didn't contract it. They want to make sure he doesn't contract it in that 14 days. Like he didn't contract it and then he's going to get sick and then be sent to school. So he has to stay home for 14 days. But there are other options. He can take a rapid test or take another test and come up negative, and then he can go back to school the day after his negative test. Or he can do it for like 10 days. So like the longest he has to stay home with mommy is 7 days. And I'm just like, you poor kid. He's worried about missing homework assignments, which his school is supposed to call me to let me know what homework assignments that he has that he can do from home, because they do have it set up where the kids that have to quarantine, how they can still do assignments at home. He has his Chromebook from school. Luckily, he did bring it home on Thursday. And so he's able to do his schoolwork still. So he'll be doing schoolwork. He just doesn't realize it yet because I haven't told him this morning. I've been trying to keep contact with him at a minimum. I haven't hugged my son. Oh my gosh, I haven't hugged my son in 5 days. I haven't kissed my husband in 5 days. I haven't hugged my husband in 5 days. I've been hugging and kissing Maggie perfectly fine all weekend because I figure you got it. I'm hugging somebody in this house, okay? I'm Southern. I need to hug somebody in this house. So me and Maggie have been snuggled up, and we celebrated her birthday yesterday. Now, so yesterday was Maggie's birthday. She turned 9, and Maggie was just a hellion all day, yo. She was being really mean and just nasty, and it's because she's cooped up in the house. Maggie is like a free-range bird. She doesn't like to be cooped up in the house. Maggie likes to go outside and play. Her friends kept coming over and asking, can she play? And I'm like sitting there covering my mouth and trying not to touch anything. And I'm like, you guys, Maggie cannot come play right now. She is still in quarantine. She will be back out to play on Tuesday after you guys get out of school. She'll be able to come out and play. They said, fine. And then, like, the little girl's brother comes over, and I was just like, she can't come out and play. Oh, my God. So, for Maggie's birthday, we had planned on getting Maggie a new big girl bike because that's what she asked for. Maggie's bike was a little girl bike with training wheels. We took the training wheels off, so now she just has a little girl bike. But she has outgrown said bike. And she asked us for her birthday, could she get a big girl bike without training wheels? Because now that she can ride without training wheels, she wanted a big girl bike. Go figure, she spent her birthday in quarantine with COVID, which makes it hella funny when it comes time to blow out the birthday candles, and you're just like, no! So we had to give her a slice of cake to blow out the birthday candles on, because we weren't about to let her blow her COVID all over the birthday cake, and infect the other 2 members of the house that don't have it with COVID. So we cut her a slice of cake, and she got to blow on her cake. She got to blow on her piece of cake so that everybody else could enjoy the birthday cake. And if you missed it, Mr. Coffee made her the most adorable little buffalo cake. Again, he's been amazing throughout all of this. I wish there was something big that I can do for him, which kind of there is. I am buying him a new pair of headphones. His headphones have been acting up really bad. His Apple earpods have been acting up. And I'm thinking it's because of, he works in the oil field. So, like, he gets a lot of dirt and oil and grit in his headphone pack, and his pack looks, like, disgusting. So I bought him a new pair of headphones. I told him it was for an early anniversary gift, but I'm not going to use it for an anniversary gift. I'm going to use it as a thank you gift for taking care of the house and everything, because I want to show my appreciation to him, because he's been busting his ass, making sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing, making sure everything is sanitized and clean, making sure everybody's washing their hands and not infecting everybody else in the house with this virus, and just been making sure that everything's going good in the house, making sure everything's going smooth, running out to the store left and right numerous times a day for us. And I want to show my appreciation, so I'm going to buy him that pair of headphones that he needs. With a little bit of money that I have, I'm going to buy him the headphones and tell him thank you, and make him a nice pot roast dinner, and just love on him as much as I can, because he has been like a godsend throughout this whole thing. He's been keeping me calm. He's been checking on me, making sure I have my orange juice, making sure I'm drinking, making sure I'm eating, talking me out of my crazy rambles and everything else. Like, I told him I was worried about the channel. He's like, don't worry about the channel. The channel will be fine. They're not going to die without you. Your channel's not going to die, and you're not going to be able to pull up your numbers, because my big thing is my views and everything are going to be down because I'm not putting up videos. And he goes, I don't care. You don't need to be putting up videos right now. You need to focus on you and not everybody else. And my big thing is I always focus on what is good for everybody else, not so much for myself like most people do. And so he was just like, don't worry, you'll come back and kick ass again. Just, you got to take this time off. And so I was like, okay. And it was because of him that I wasn't a complete wreck about my channel. I wasn't a complete wreck about not making videos. I wasn't, like, I didn't have the energy at all. And even Friday, when I thought I was starting to feel better, I couldn't get more than 2 sentences out without, like, feeling like I was out of breath. And I was just like, I can't do it. I want to go live so bad, but I can't. My dad was like, you need to rest. You need to stop worrying about live. They will not die if you do not go live. You need to rest. And for once, I actually listened to my dad, and I was like, you know what? He's right. I'm sorry. I can't go live. And I was expecting a bunch of people that were, because usually anytime I go live, or if I don't go live, I always get somebody that's like, oh, that sucks. I'm finally able to catch your live and you can't go live, blah, blah, blah. But everybody has been so understanding and so patient with me. And I want to say thank you to all of you. And whenever I'm not riddled with COVID, I will do a giveaway. I was supposed to give away Island Time, or Island Babe by Christina Loray before I got sick. But then I got sick, and so I had to cancel that giveaway. So I will be doing that giveaway whenever I'm been clear of COVID for a few weeks. I want to give it a little bit, because I got to make sure that everybody in the house is cool, because I don't want to get anybody else sick. The canvas itself is in a box. It's in the box that it came in. I haven't touched it since it came in the house. So I know it's fine, but I don't want to send anything out of this house until everything has been sanitized and sprayed down with our Lysol and everything. Like, everything in the house has been sanitized and is going to be sanitized as soon as everybody's out of quarantine and we get our life back. So just be patient with me. I promise I have something good coming for you guys. But I just would like to say thank you to each and every person that reached out to make sure that me and the kids and Mr. Coffee were okay. You guys' kind words, the thoughts and prayers. Thank you guys so much. It meant a lot to the family to know that we had so many people that were looking out for our best interest and were making sure that we were okay. And like I said, I didn't want you guys to worry because I knew everybody was going to be fine. But in the back of my head, I was still worried that, you know, maybe I wasn't going to be fine because of my asthma and everything else. But I can't tell you how lucky I got that day that I went to the pharmacy to pick up the kids' meds. I just happened to notice that they didn't have the sign up anymore for the vaccine. And I asked, and I went, you know what, don't procrastinate, just freaking get it, because just get it. And I'm so glad that that day came and I got it, because this could have been a lot worse. Whatever your opinion is on a vaccine is, I don't really care. This is not political. I don't care what political party you belong to. This is public health, and I will say that that vaccine probably saved my life with my health issues, and I would recommend it time and time again. I'm not going to stop telling you guys to make sure that you wash your hands and don't touch your face and to get vaccinated, because I know what it did for me and my family, and I wouldn't want any of my subscribers to be perished because of this virus, because, you know, they're taking and putting politics into it. You know what? If you can't get it, that's fine too. Just be careful when you go out. It is what it is, okay? At this point, it is what it is. Whether you decide to get it or not is up to you. I'm not going to force anybody to get it. It's your decision. It's your body, and I can't force anybody to do anything. But for me, it was the best choice for me and my family, and I'm glad I did it, and I don't regret it, not one bit. So, yeah, so that was our week of quarantine and the virus in our house. That's how we got it. That's what we know. Which I'm not sure if this is going to be an hour long or not. I'm like, what else can I possibly tell you? There's so much more I could tell you, but that was a lot. So, yeah, anyways. Let's talk about the animals, because I know people are going to ask, what about the animals? I'm not drinking or letting the dogs lick in my mouth or anything, so they're fine. Same thing with the ferrets. The ferrets don't drink from the same bowls as us. We don't eat and like bird feed them or anything, so they're fine. So the ferrets were our biggest concern, because ferrets can get respiratory issues from humans. But as long as we weren't like putting them in our mouth or sneezing or coughing on them, they were fine. And the ferrets are now old enough that they are potty trained. And so me and Mr. Coffee decided that it is time now, because if you've ever had ferrets, you know that ferrets aren't meant to be caged. They're not like birds or anything. Like, you're not supposed to have them in the cage a whole lot. Like, they go in there to sleep. Like, that's supposed to be like a dog. My dogs have crates, but I don't keep them in there. They're in there if, like, say somebody comes to the house and we want to protect the person that's coming in the house and the dogs don't know them or whatever, we'll put them in the cage. The dogs more than likely will go in the cage when they're tired. That's their safe spot away from everybody and everyone. They have cooling mats in there, and that's just their safe place that they can go to sleep down where nobody will mess with them. Same thing with the ferrets. The ferrets are meant to free roam. So they will free roam, but you have to potty train them first, because for those folks who didn't know, yes, you can potty train ferrets. The ferrets are litter box trained, like cats, which is why they tell you they're like cats. And so since they're litter box trained, the ferrets have only ever experienced the craft room, which is my craft room, and then part of the kitchen. And then we left the rest of the house for the dogs. Now, because the ferrets are potty trained, we decided to test out the ferrets in the rest of the house. So we put the dogs in their cage, because the dogs are bigger, okay? So the dogs get pretty excited whenever the ferrets are out, and we don't want them to accidentally step or crush the ferrets. So we're still working with the dogs to be calm and not jump at the ferrets. They don't want to hurt them. They want to play with them. The problem is that when Daisy gets excited, she does this little prancing thing where she's like back and forth, and Killian does this thing where he like jumps up and down. And I can't have them doing that with the ferrets, because the ferrets, compared to 80 and 110 pounds, the ferrets are maybe a pound apiece. So I can't have them like happily jumping around, because, and they do they legit, like they do little dances when they're excited. And they were excited that the ferrets were out, and Daisy almost crushed Anais. So we were like, okay, we're going to put the dogs in a crate and let them watch the ferrets run around for a little bit. So we had the ferrets out in the whole house free roaming for the first time yesterday. It was the funniest thing, because they immediately chose violence. One, we bought Maggie balls for a ball pit. Now, Maggie is 9 years old, so she's too big for a ball pit. But we got a big Tupperware container, or one of those Rubbermaid containers, and we filled it with the ball pit balls, which Mr. Coffee went and got like 200 ball pit balls, and we filled it with that, and she got in it, and she loved it. She loves it. She has a ball pit. She's excited. The thing is, ferrets also love ball pits. Right now, they have a rice container that they can get into. Now, they get into this rice container like once or twice a week. Now, you're probably wondering what's up with the rice. Now, ferrets with rice, it helps control their scent. So it makes them where they don't smell. They don't have that like ferret smell. And so like if I have company or something coming over, I'll let them play in rice and it'll mask that smell for a while. So the ferrets will play in there like once or twice a week or whatever. But now they have Maggie's ball pit that they like. And Anais is obsessed with the balls from the ball pit. So she will chase the ball pit balls around. So we have one ferret chasing ball pit balls around. Gumball is just free. So he's going over and he's trying to go like play with Daisy. And Daisy's like, you know, licking him through the cage. And we let her out to see how she would do. And she was fine with him until Gumball got excited. And Gumball started like doing his little hoppy skip jump thing around her. And then Daisy got excited and she started like thrashing. And I'm like, Daisy, no, don't thrash, Daisy, no, calm down. And so, yeah, they were doing fine though. They're doing fine. So we're still working on that. But the ferrets got to be out for 90% of the day yesterday. And it was so cute because when Anais got tired, she went over to her cage. Now I had to order a new ramp because they have a ramp that you can use for their cage to let them crawl back into their cage whenever they're ready. I don't have it yet. So we stacked some stuff up by her cage and she just like jumped on top of it, jumped back into the cage, crawled up her ramps, got some food and water, and then went and laid down. But then we lost Gumball. And I was like, oh, why can't we find Gumball? Now, Gumball's our chubber. He's the one that likes to eat. So if you shake food, he's coming, okay? So we're shaking the food and we can't seem to find the ferret. And I'm just like, oh my God, where's the thing? He probably got lost underneath the couch. We have recliners, so oh my God. The good thing is the recliner and couch, the mechanisms and stuff, they can't really get stuck in them because of the way that they're built into the couch. But they can still like go behind the couch and stuff. And they can still, if they get on the part of the recliner that's electric, they can still like hurt themselves. They don't chew wires. I've got them out of chewing the wires thing. And so I wasn't worried about that, but we couldn't find Gumball for a good 20 minutes. And I was like freaking out. I was like, where's my baby? Oh my God, my ferret. Where's my ferret? Here, Gumball had fallen asleep underneath the couch. And because they're dark colored, underneath the couch is dark, I couldn't see him whenever we looked. And then I finally would just put my hand underneath there to go reach and grab for stuff. And I was like, something furry's under here. And I grabbed hold of his scruff. And I just grabbed the scruff and pulled him out. And he was still asleep. Like he was doing the dead man sleep. And I was like, oh my God. And I thought he was dead at first. Because I was like, oh my God, did we squish him underneath the couch? Blah, 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 blah. But there's no way to squish him underneath the couch. So I was just like freaking out for no reason. And like finally I like tickled his belly and he's ticklish. So like when you tickle his belly, he like moved around and I was like, oh, okay. Gumball's okay. Gumball's okay. And so I sat there and held him for like 45 minutes and then let him sleep on me until I was ready to put him back in his cage with his sister. And yeah, so that was last night. So yeah, that has been a house full of chaos for the last week or so. But yeah, so it's so nice to talk to you guys again. Oh my gosh, I missed you guys. We have a week full of videos coming for you guys. I hope you're excited. I actually have to switch something around. I was going to do a trade video this week, but I have to do, I'll probably do that Saturday, but I got to do that post review for T-Moss kit this week too, because I forgot about that kit that I completed. So I got to do that, but I have a full week of crafting stuff coming for you guys. I do have paper quilling coming, hopefully. Maybe not next week, but the week after next, because it's on its way. So yeah, I have so much planned for you guys. So thank you guys for hanging in there with me. Thank you guys again for all your thoughts, prayers, and well wishes for me and the family. We are doing just fine. Just waiting out this last bit of quarantine so that we can be free from each other, because I'm pretty sure at this point we're driving Mr. Coffee nuts. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave those down in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer them to the best of my ability. But with that said, I must now bid you adieu. but not before reminding you that it is hard out here in these crafty streets, and take it from me, you do not want this. So please stay safe, wear your mask, wash your hands, don't touch your face in public, keep your 6 feet, and always try to be kind, be courteous, be cool. Bye, guys.